Paul, that's Jesse, and we've been through the town on a horse with no. These horses sort of lack names, man. They're just
There's
not
really
memorable
not.
enough. Yeah, so this is our unicorn preview. We're gonna move quick on these ones because we spent a lot of time off camera, sort of trying to talk about what to talk about. I think Moto Batar is probably the winner from that aspect
There's a lot to
because
talk
it's like,
about
look,
this card.
yeah, look at all this stuff, man. He's got reserve and scout and cavalry, and he's a samurai. He can make a range to attack. He bows, but no way he straightens if one of 70 different things trigger.
Ugh.
Which,
Yeah, so he
yeah,
cares about spears, and he cares about Phoenix guys, and he cares about being reserve, and it's all
reserve.
for a range 2 attack. This is this is maybe a record. I don't know if this is the longest text box to say don't bow to make a range 2
Yeah,
attack at 4 lines. It's got to be close. Like he's
yeah.
7 gold for 3 force. The cavalry tax is back and in full force. We looked at when we looked at the spider guys, we saw all kinds of 4 gold guys for 3 fours, even with little abilities tacked on. And this is just kind of an embarrassment. I
Yep. Also, scout and reserve go together. Like those are two things that are going to the hip a lot of the times, I guess. But it's not two great taste great together because it's just kind of like scout doesn't do that
like
much right now, and like reserve hasn't turned out to be like reserve matters when it matters, and then like but hey, I got this reserve guy in my profits, and you
doop
think
doop doop
that
doop doop. And
about
I
me,
got you
but
totally.
no,
Ha ha
I
ha
don't.
ha.
And when that happened, like at the top of the tables, you don't see a lot of people losing to reserve, right? I
You
mean,
just
it's one
gotta
of those,
count it. It's
and range two. I'm sure in their mind, like, man, if he makes a range two, that's like 5 4 swing for 7 gold, which is actually just a crap personality. So not that impressive either. And I guess I'm done. I mean, I will say that we're approaching the point where Unicorn will have like an all-weather deck where they just have so many sort of mid-cost reserve personalities. It makes
hmm
it really difficult, like between the cavalry trade and reserve on 8 guys, or 100 guys. It sort of makes the defensive math this really confusing scenario.
Yeah, you can
Uh,
split aggressively and then like reserve a whole little army into the battle.
You can only reserve when you're opposed, so it doesn't quite work. But it can make defending kind of tricky. The problem is if your opponent's playing a bunch of these sort of slightly overcosted reserve personalities, they might just be so force inefficient that the deck is unplayable. So.
Which is probably where I'm at. My biggest beef with this card is I want to know. I've got a lot of flavor questions here.
Is
Um,
he throwing the spear?
he
Is
appears.
that
I
why
mean, the
he's a
spear is
range
not in his
attack?
hand. If he's not throwing the spear, then their art director needs to have a little sit down with this artist.
Well, are they? So I mean, if you just that seems an ineffective battle strat. Like you just throw it and then carry on with no weapons.
But I'm saying the throwing it that seems to represent that he's bowed, right? He doesn't have the spear anymore. The problem is
Yes.
that
Also,
he's
just a
clearly
range attack.
spearing. He's spearing a Phoenix guy, which does not bow him.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a melee. I feel like I have a spear. You like poke them, like you plunge and move on, plunge and move
That's the
on.
question that I want to know: is how far does an item as a projectile have to go before it qualifies as a
Like
ranged
what's
attack
that?
and not a melee attack? Because
Get the
this,
art director on. We're gonna have a discussion here.
that's right. I mean, I think this one's on the fence. Like a sword is clearly a melee attack. Even if you throw the sword, I don't think you can throw a sword far enough that it
Yeah.
qualifies. But a spear, you can throw a spear pretty good. There's like a whole javelin tossing thing at the Olympics. Some of those guys are impressive.
Okay, that's well. I mean, should we talk about how he appears to be, or I think it's she. She appears to be throwing this through the guy's back, like shooting him
That's
in the
pretty.
back.
It's just well,
Um,
he's looking like he's a wimpy Phoenix guy. He's like crying. "Oh, I don't want to be in the battle
that's,
anymore.
that's
Like,
pretty.
"Ugh."
That's pretty nasty, right? To just run him
It's not
down through
his
the back.
fault. It's not his fault. He wanted to charge the dude. He wanted to have an honorable fight, and this little Phoenix guy couldn't hack it. He couldn't stand with him. And it is a he. There is a gendered pronoun in the text box. As much as that offends my sensibilities,
If he has a spear, okay, fair enough. You got
they
me.
they gendered him. I don't know how
So
I
I
feel about
mean,
that.
like We managed manufacturers to talk about for a good couple of minutes there. Go us.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know that that's going to continue. Not that these cards are bad, just that there's not a lot to say about them. Chiari is an example of that. He's 5 gold for 3 PH at 2 force. The +1 force of your Dragon Clan is not going to come up outside a draft, and the cavalry trait is completely
Courtesy,
meaningless,
not
especially.
passion, and yeah, so what's the value of cavalry when stapled onto a otherwise blank 2/3 personality who's probably in your deck because he's a 3 PH magistrate, right? Like
Right.
what? Like I
It's
there's something like my when I look at this card, my assumption is it's going to some sort of a unicorn honor deck or maybe unicorn switch deck, and it's like maybe they're in the sensei, maybe they're not, but it's there to like power some magistrate cards, like a rank half privilege or the setup to buy a guy to set up my attack or maybe for defense. But I just in no world am I like excited to have this guy, jumping in there and attacking. Like that's not what
yeah,
I'm doing.
and so it's
And
courtesy. Go
no
ahead.
horse anywhere in the picture.
No horse anywhere in the picture. It could be that's what he's considering. So like off camera, he's looking at the horse and thinking, should I get on the horse? Should I stay off the horse? And that's why it's
Right,
courtesy, not
it's not compassion. It's
not
true.
not actually
It's like
printed.
huge trick, by the way. I have all these compassion cards, and there's like 3 courtesy cards in this set. And I'm just like, yeah.
So since it's courtesy, we know when we get it, right? Like
Yep.
all the higher, like we get it against Lion, Crane, Phoenix, and
Yep.
sometimes Dragon.
Yep. All the time against
Oh,
Drake.
all the time against Dragon. Dragon used to be a 4. I don't know. In my head, they're like a 4.5. Anyway, um, and if we're playing Honor, so I don't want it against Crane. I don't really want it against Lion. They don't have a ton of cavalry guys. Although they've got like Ayumi, a couple potential things they could be doing, so maybe it has value there. Does it have value against Phoenix? Like a lot of those times, Phoenix is just playing Honor too.
Yeah. So for me, it's just about deck construction. It's very hard when you're in the middle of the pack, like Unicorn is, where they go first a healthy number of times. Like I go to a tournament, I want to play 7 rounds, and it's very likely they'll go first 4 or 5 rounds. Right? They'll play against Scorpion and Crab and Spider and Mantis, and then Mantis 17 more times. And then they'll play against like 1 Crane, 1 Phoenix. But it's like you're sort of in that you're in that zone where it's like you can't count on having your courtesy, and that makes it. You can't consider. You can't say like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
playing
it's
this
just
guy.
a straight
He has,
staple on. And
yeah,
this one's so this one is so little. It's so meaningless that I don't even really consider it.
yep. And I think that's probably how it's meant to be. It just makes me wonder why it's there because cards
Exactly.
should. Yeah.
There should be an economy of text. They should save ink.
Yep.
Let's talk about Shinjo's Humming. This is a rare, and I don't know that I
I
get it.
want you, Jesse. I want you to just take a moment. I want you to close your eyes, and I want
Close.
you to imagine all the people. No, that's not it.
Wait.
Yeah, imagine there's no religion. No, that's okay. Here we go.
Uh,
Okay, imagine you have in play the 3-for-3 holding that after you recruit a commander, you can attach a follower to him. That's what I want you to imagine.
Okay, I have this
Because
in
then
play.
I can reserve this guy out,
Mm.
use that holding, and attach like a trained swordsman, and it's like it's the big swing, and it only costs you like 17 gold.
Now,
That's
there's a
pretty much what I
kata.
got.
There's a kata, Endless Legions or something, that like gives all of your followers reserve for free.
Right, but this is like much sneakier because nobody's reading. First off, nobody is going to know that he's reserved because people don't pay attention enough to the reserve keyword. And like nobody's going to read your innocuous 350 holding over there, right? And you can just get him, man. You can just get him, be like, bam.
Bam, bam, gotcha. I
In that
paid.
very
So
specific kitchen table scenario, I like Shinjo Sungmin. In every other scenario, I just don't like him.
So he's 6 gold for 3 force. We just bagged on poor Moto Batara Barge for being 7 gold for 3 force. 6
Right,
is
so a
still
little
too
better.
much, but it is
And
better.
the ability is a little bit more turned on.
A little bit more.
In that it's just it's a force reduction. Now, if you only have 2 PH guys, it's only -2 force, which is just kind of.
Now hold on, it's not a force reduction; it's a fear effect.
No, give a target enemy.
Oh, force penalty. Wow, I can't read.
Target unbuff for so, but a lot. So I guess if you have like some 3 PHs, it can be -3, but a lot of times it's probably going to be -2 in your like reserve military deck.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even hit followers; it only hits personalities.
Here's the thing about this card is that I always like to think about cards like this that care about any guy you want in the context of
Yeah,
himself. If he's just him on the table,
that's right.
like
If
what's
it's
he do?
just
And if it's just him, he's an overcosted Ichimoku,
absolutely.
and that makes me a little bit sad. Um,
I
I
do
guess
think he highlights the problem of putting both cavalry and reserve on a card because they're sort of different strategies, right? Like it's nice if you could build a deck that's all cavalry and reserve, and now I think you're kind of close to that point. But cavalry isn't the trade it once was, but I think you still sort of pay for it sometimes.
no,
And
I see. I see. We are paying for it. I mean, we're clearly paying 1 gold for cavalry and 1 gold for reserve, right? Because I could imagine this guy in our spider reviews is just a 4 gold, 3 force, 1 chi guy that's got this little
absolutely,
ability.
absolutely. Well, there
Um,
is a moto guy who is like three
yep,
two.
yep. And he gives a
You
-3 force. They give with the
know,
spear. The we're clearly paying 1 gold for cavalry and 1 gold for reserve, and I think that that can't continue, especially on a rare. Like cavalry and reserve together need to cost a single gold, and then maybe we're talking about a playable card.
right. So I mean, you play him in alignment with that guy we're talking about, Moto. I want to say Akano, Kono, something like that. Who's like 3 force or 5 gold. It's a guy -3 4, and you're gonna have like the two of them together, and now you have more force reduction effects, and that sets up some unholy strike or something. Um, but yeah, this is a card that feels maybe a little bit sort of over-designed. I feel like you could have just had Battle give out -force to something, and I would have
Mm,
just said, okay, shrug my shoulders. Like it would have just been a little bit better and a little bit simpler and a little bit more playable. And I think it would have pushed me into the realm of like when I see this card, I'm not gonna be like, oh, that guy's terrible. You're gonna lose now. But I'm gonna be like, this is a sign of a not fully developed deck. Like this is a
absolutely.
sign.
I think that's a good way to put it. And like in his highest conception of I have the clan champion with an armor that gives
Mm,
+1 PH equipped, and now I can give a -5. Like is the payoff even there? Is doing all that work
so
and giving a
I'm
minus like
telling you, the payoff is reserve with commander.
okay.
Throw down a big follower.
Okay. Okay, so let's go into the high PH guys. We got a couple of battle maidens to talk about. I am not a battle maiden guy, so I know some people love them. I can take
They've
them
been
or leave
around
them.
a long time. It's a big part of unicorn flavor, right? Like that's I'm okay with that. But this is a callback to Tetsuko, who goes
Mm.
I mean pre arcs, before Gold Edition, before we had any of that. Tetsuko was this 3/3 for 8, which was 6 back then, and you gained +1/+1 or +2/+2 whenever you lost the province. It was in this BCP deck, Province Crusher Ponies. I mean, that card was really good, and it's because +2/+2 is a lot bigger,
+1
plus
+1.
right. Well, I was a 3/3 guy, right? So it was
Yeah.
just like this is just sort of the depowered down version, and the depowered down version just doesn't have any place anyway.
Now that being said, I mean she can. I mean in the later turns of the game, she is 5 gold for 4 force. And like, isn't that a little bit impressive?
I guess. I also think there should have been a way to make this like we introduced compassion this set. What if the compassion Sako was like compassion has +3/+3?
That would have been nice.
That would have been nice. Maybe like then it's like 5/5 for
That's a card I
5.
can get excited about. And it'd be an
Right.
interesting thing where like she's big, but then she gets you back in the game and it turns off her compassion. Like that would have been an interesting card.
Yep. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
the
as it stands,
Sako.
I'm not playing this in anything. Again, got nothing.
Let's talk about Itako Sakiko. Now this card is
Okay.
interesting, not because it's
Wait, I
going.
wanna put you the test. I know you often brag to me you have an encyclopedic knowledge of the card pool. You're always rubbing it in my face that I
I
can't
don't think
remember
I've
the name.
ever done either of those things.
He does this all the time.
I've
Don't listen
never.
to him. Trust me. Don't don't use your minds. Don't rely on your own personal experience on it. Just believe me when I say he does this all the time. So, do you know who Taco Sakaiko not experienced is?
So I think I have played her before. I think she's like a 8 gold for 3 Destined guy.
I'm so upset that you got that. Yeah, it's Kevin Whaley's favorite card. So shout out to friend of the program, Kevin Whaley. So that's how I knew this, because he kept on playing her. And at the very start of Ivory, she was okay, and she got worse and worse as time got on, because it got harder and harder to justify playing a 3T for 8 guy, even with Destined to Deserve.
Yep.
And let me tell you, 2 more gold above starting honor requirement. I
She
mean,
may
yeah,
have
okay, I
gotten
got that
worse.
straight. Yeah,
I,
it's just I just don't know how I can
I
justify
love
playing, man.
I love the idea that there's just this girl running around Rokugan doing good deeds, doing her thing, and like she's been practicing so hard, but she's been practicing wrong. Like she's got a trolley master that's like telling her to cut the sword this way, and that's completely wrong. And like she's been getting worse and worse as she's been training.
Right. And also, like, what is her melee attack? Does she like poke their wounds? Is that what she's doing? Just like,
I don't even I
ah,
Flavor Judge Judy's not coming out for this
you've
one
got,
because there's too much
you've
else
got
to
a
say.
scar. You've got a scar. So let me just like rub some salt in. Is that her method of
I think
pain?
she hacks him up and then she puts them back together. Like it's like
Oh,
this is like a bandit guy here, and she like beat him, and she's like now, Mr. Bandit Man, like change your wicked ways.
that's it. So I mean, it's pretty good. Right? Like, it's a melee 3 that if I can shoot like a guy who's 9 force and bow them, that seems okay.
Now is that how it works? Like I
No,
melee
it's not.
three,
It's
and
not
then
at all. It's in fact not at all how it works. I was making a point about sort of the confusing nature of the text box. I don't think my joke landed very well.
like it does it. Well, it says it doesn't say if it would destroy it, you may bow it. It says that may bow instead of destroying it. So can I just say melee 3 and I bow you? Or it has to no, because it has to destroy it to do the replacement effect. So this is the
Correct.
thing about the card. It's a 10 gold card, and I get excited about double-digit gold cost because I think that something really good is coming down the pipeline. Then I see 3 force, and I see a low force, high gold cost guy,
So
which
you're
means
you're
that
expecting. I mean, you're really.
I'm expecting a limited phase kill engine. I'm expecting like
Yeah.
Lyco, like Dr. Leaky with making 2/2
Steal a
guys. I'm
guy.
expecting
Yeah. I mean,
steal a
you're
guy,
looking.
Panku, and then
Jagged
and
Eye,
then what
like
comes? Battle bow for a melee 3, blah blah blah, gain 2. This card is just so rubbins terrible. Overstarting honor requirement by 1 point, just to throw dirt in your face. And you can say, well, Jesse, it's just 1 point. If you've played
yeah.
Unicorn, if you played Battle Mains for any length of time, they always do this, and these cards are always a huge headache. And you think, oh, it's just 1 point, it's not going to come up. It's going to come up.
Right, because it also limits who else you can play alongside her, because you can only have 3 to 5 to 7 number of guys who have above starting on it before you're really sort of tempting the face on top of the thing. So, yeah, I mean, it just it makes a personality who is already struggling to get into your deck. It's even harder for her to get into your deck. Should we talk about her straighten thing, where it's
No.
like if she's like no,
No.
like, uh, compared to the Crabshoe Genja, by the way, who's just got like resilient and makes a melee 3 and is 10 gold and is like a dash on
Yeah,
her. I mean,
comes out a little bit lower than that one.
it,
I can't
it,
even get excited about the card that you draw. Like I've paid a lot of money for cards in my day.
yeah,
I played Sujekin out of faction in like every single deck.
or Oracle of the Void, 10 gold cost, man. Like, yeah,
I've
we're
played the
doing it.
Oracle of Void. You have to pay a single gold to get the card off the top. Like if you're not
Yeah,
drawing back up to 5 and losing all the honor, you got to pay a gold to
we've
draw the
done it,
card.
man. We're not
Oh,
too
I've done
proud.
it. I'm not above that, but I am above playing this card. I found my line, and it is Utaku Sakiko. Let's talk about
Yeah.
Utaku Zosia, which I think I'm going to be playing a fair amount, but not necessarily in Unicorn. Ooh.
This is the keyword fail, right? This is just like you're nothing, just on a horse. You're just some girl on
It's
a
a
horse.
horse, guys. Like she's on a horse. Like let's
I
talk
can't.
about it. She could have been leading the horse. She could have been pulling the horse along with her. That would have been acceptable. There are plenty of ways to whippoorwill this card and to not. Oh wait, no, she has cavalry. Never mind. She's
She
on
has
the horse.
cat, so we're
Success.
good.
You guys did a great job. Everything was awesome. Paul, why
Because
did you lead me into that?
what I'm going to talk about is it's like no samurai, no Shugenja, no Magistrate, no
Right, but
like there's
my
nothing.
rant on art and traits is always about horses and pictures or Sakura blossoms on
I
duelists,
would,
and
yeah,
you led me astray.
I'm a tricky beast, man. I'm Kosei's trickster over here. So I think that this card probably goes in every single honor deck for Unicorn because you're not going to do better than 4 PH for 5 gold.
Yep.
And the compassion ability when it's turned on is 4 PH
Vroom,
for
vroom,
7
vroom.
gold. Still just as good, but it's really hard to get excited over a personality like this when they're completely lacking all keywords because as much as keywords don't matter, they kind of do.
They
I
totally
can't
matter.
play
You don't have any keywords, you
Soul
can't
Deck
play the keyword
word. Yeah. She's
game.
like sitting out. She's like standing there in protest. She's like, I think the keyword game is, misogynistic, and I'm boycotting it or something.
Absolutely.
And she's like, nah, she doesn't want to participate. Like, there's a
And
problem
you're
with
right.
this.
The biggest problem with this card, so I envision playing this card out of one of the higher honor factions,
Sure,
like
with our
Crane, and using the
yeah,
card that lets me um, proclaim my
buyback.
guys that are not my faction.
Absolutely.
The problem with all that is that killing her is actually a lot tougher than you think it is.
Also, the buyback ability isn't a straight open. It's like a compassion open.
Yeah, and so you have to be down. Now you're playing honor, so you're gonna be down on provinces because they're taking yours, you're not taking theirs.
Right.
The problem is that New Order is the meta, and we talked a little bit about that in a previous video. Like you go to 3 around turn 4, 5, hopefully turn 5, you're thinking your compassion ability is going to be on, but then they blow
Yeah.
their New Order, so now you're 3 to 3 and your compassion ability is off. And
The
how many
really sad.
turns really does the game go? It only goes to about turn 6 or 7,
Right.
and
So
that means you have 1 or 2 turns to use this ability. That's not a lot.
So a lot of the time, the open's not even going to be, and because not only like you also have to consider like at that point is limiting reagent my ability to generate honor in my dynasty deck because if I have a different personality using my provinces who's like 3PH who does something, I'm
Yeah.
going to prioritize that over just this 1-2 what do I do guy.
And even on the
Um,
subject of the card that lets us proclaim, which we'll get to when we do the strategies,
yeah, when we talk
why am I
about
not
that.
just playing that on Demia, proclaiming her for
Right.
2, gaining 1, and then buying her off of 200 senseis to 5?
Right, well, you can use honor sentence with this guy artifaction as well, but you could just like Demian lets me play inexplicable challenge, right?
Yeah,
And like that's something. Otomo Teneji lets me play control, and that's something.
yeah.
This guy lets me play like nothing.
So she's a very cool card, and it's the kind of card I read, and I think I want to brew around this. It
Just
turns
because of the
out that
numbers, it's
compassion is
designed like
just
yeah.
not that great in honor. The window to use is too small, but it doesn't mean that these kinds of cards are really good for L5R. The cards that get you excited, that get you thinking, that push you into like this is a card that actually wants to push me into Unicorn Honor. Like Goofy has wealth tokens does not do it.
See, this is a card that wants me to like make a deck where I buy a true ninja with a reaction that puts out a -1 chi token, and then I make this guy a ninja. I get a reaction onto him, and then I kill her, and then I bring her back. And
Yeah, I
that's
wish I
the
had a way
strat.
to make her permanently 0 chi. Like then we'd be
It's
cooking
a
with gas. Then I could buy her and she'd gain the 4 and immediately die and I'd be happy. So those are the
anyway.
unicorn guys. I they weren't bad. They just it's like
It's
matzo ball
funny.
soup with you know rice.
I feel like they actually have more text and more sort of interesting gameplay scenarios than some of the other factions, something like Dragon. It's just when I think about what unicorn decks have been, how they're situated, I just none of these they don't excite me very much at all.
It pushes them towards this cavalry reserve thing, and I think they do kind of go together. It makes sense as a flavor trait, and I see a situation where you have
No,
province
they're the
crushing
cat.
force on
They're
2.
the cat. Get it? They're the cavalry. They show up.
They show up
The
right when you least
cavalry
expect it.
arrives.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying with the splits is like if they are 7, you have 4, you have 16 force, you split it 2, and they have to defend, or you have 4 reserve guys in your provinces. So wherever they defend, you bring a bunch more guys into the battle and sort of win it anyway and take 2. It's just such a greedy strategy, and it remains to be seen if paying an extra 2 gold on every single one of your guys is a strategy that's going to pan out.
Yeah, so there's this really weird sort of forced deflation, and I want to talk about this, I think, more broadly in an article or a podcast or something, where it's like you can clearly see that they don't like personalities don't really run the range of force very much anymore. It's not
No,
like
it's like one
this
to
guy's
three.
3 and this guy, like, the fact that like 5 force for 7 gold's not really a thing. That like 3 is really the number we're sort of tapping, and then we'll go 4. I think that's hurting Unicorn more than it's hurting others.
All right. Look forward to that conversation. In the meantime, this has been Enough Talk. I'm Jesse, and that's Paul. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment.
Hey, Loose.